the skies, and chill was the wind as the land was covered in a veil of malice. Across the hill did ride a dread army of the night, cloaked in mist and fog, prepared to rain down death and destruction upon the land. And the people did crowd for a saviour, a noble soul to save them from their impending demise. Just as it seemed all was lost, in strode a mighty hero, clad in shimmering metal from head to toe. Wielding a terrible broadsword, he did cleave his foes in two, smashing their ranks asunder with righteous fury. And when the day was done and the enemy strewn across the fields in pieces, the people did turn to the warrior and say, "We shall name this day in your honor. Speak unto us your wisdom." The warrior said one word that day: epic.
One man, one murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Plz. It begins now. You're listening to Blue Plz here on WoW Radio with myself, TotalBiscuit. Welcome to the show today, and what a day it is. Actually, what day is it? Well, it's Sunday, one would imagine. And the time here is 17:33, and in other places it may be other times. However, this is the only time that matters. This is Blue Plz, this is TotalBiscuit. This is a show about WoW. Just to get that out there, just in case you're a little bit uncertain. Right. What do we got coming up in the show today? I have a myriad of evil topics. We all know there's a new patch coming out, so that will be covered. We've got, of course, Second Wind. Yes, I did just say...
Second Wind!
Almost didn't get to the button, but got there just in time to save it. Gotta love it. Right, so what we got? Second Wind. The Second Wind this week is, has Blizzard dug itself into a hole with endgame content? Is it sustainable in its present form? Got many answers to that coming up in just a few short minutes' time. Coming up later in the show, all of these little new endgame things, or what I call the Silithus Equation. Can Blizzard make good on these mini endgame zones, such as Sketis and that other thing, the Ethereum Prison? Yeah. And we'll be asking, the only people using legacy zones these days are alts and bloody gold farmers. Why not just nerf the drops altogether? And of course we'll have a second wind for the end of the show, but I'm not going to tell you that yet because that would completely ruin the mystery. Yeah. Okay, right. So what are we on about? Second wind this week. Now we have emails aplenty, but first, one particular email that must be gone into, which I found rather amusing. Now last week didn't happen, for obvious reasons, because I was almost dead, and I do apologise for that. I did want to do the show, but everyone from the station stopped me from doing it. I assume because they didn't want me collapsing in midair. Yes, I do actually do my shows floating, this kind of levitation thing. It's very, very good. You know, collapsing in midair, falling onto something spiky and or hard, and, you know, unpleasantness, not too good. Bit messy, cleaning bills. Anyway, now I got an interesting email about the gold farmer rant that I did 2 weeks ago. And yes, I did rant, and I think it was very much justified, about how I believe gold farming is evil and sucks. And anyone that partakes in buying of gold is a spineless wretch. However, I did get a myriad of emails saying, yeah, we believe in that. But the one that really interested me was the one that said, no, I don't agree with that. And here we go. Here's the reason for it. It's really quite good. It's from a guy called Anonymous. Very good. Except for the fact that you put your name at the bottom. Never mind. Anyway. Now, he says this. This is rather broken, so I must apologise. I assume it is sent by someone who is Chinese. And it says, you say that they must make gardens to feed themselves. What about a home? Could you feed your family, pay your bills, and maintain your current lifestyle just by farming a small garden? The farmers have to work all day and sleep in a small room. Their work is as hard, if not harder, than your own. You are playing, I'm just reading this out, you are paying £9 a month to play this game. Am I? Okay. And you complain that someone trying to make a living is ruining your experience. The truth is, you don't have to buy gold, you don't have to respond to farmers, it's not a major problem in the game. And it is slightly selfish to deny someone a chance at a good life, because you just have to farm that area for your raid bots. Yeah, it's really, really selfish to play the game as intended. Absolutely. Now let me tell you something about gold farmers. You have this bizarre image in your mind that gold farmers are these innocent people working for these completely legitimate companies trying to feed their families, because God knows there's no other jobs in China or anywhere else where they may be or may not be establishing these damn companies. Now let me tell you something. If these people are so legit, then will you explain to me why 3 days ago, somehow, somebody managed to hack into our forum and put a 20-line advertisement for a certain gold-selling website that may or may not be GameApp.com in the thread new post notification setup? Now, will you explain to me why a legitimate company that's just trying to feed their families would go to the extent of hacking a fan site's forum in order to advertise their products? Or what about the fact that we have a myriad of websites that have been bought out by gold farmers that have on multiple occasions had Trojans with account keyloggers in them? Will you explain that to me? Oh, that's completely legitimate. That's a really legitimate business tactic. Yeah. They're being paid however much to put a Trojan inside a fan site in order to steal someone's hard work so that they can feed their families. Give me a break. The kind of people that are doing this are bumming college students who want a nice, easy thing to do, sit in front of a computer like a bloody robot all day and get paid for other people's misery. You say it doesn't affect the game? Yeah, here's a principle for you. Inflation. Economic inflation. The more money there is in an economy, the less it's worth. As in, money that shouldn't be there is there. That's the problem right there. What about the idea of cheating? I'm going to go play Monopoly. You know what? I'm going to give my friend, who is the banker, £10 so that he will give me 5,000 Monopoly pounds. At which point I will say, it's fine, because I worked for that £10, therefore I'm completely justified in using it. Now, pay up £500, you just landed on Mayfair, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Do me a favour. My heart truly bleeds, it really does. Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, that's pretty much what I had to say. On with the show. Second wind. Yes! I did just say.
Second wind.
I have a variety of interesting emails on the tone. Now, what we asked last week specifically was this. Is there any way that Blizzard can continue to sustain its endgame model in the way that it is right now? As in, instance after instance after instance. So, I've had some interesting answers, in fact. And why this person's name, I don't really know. But anyway, so he says, Hey TB, before I begin, I'd like to say the last paragraph goes off topic. I think Blizzard is somewhat backed into a corner when it comes to the endgame content. For the past 2 years, raiding has become first and foremost as Blizzard's endgame content, with PvP coming in at second place in a varying distance throughout the content patches. During this time, the endgame audience has been generally sorted out into basically the those that do and those that don't participate in either of those two fields of content. The those that do audience has for the past 2 years put extensive amounts of time and effort into earning their rewards through raid content. People have adapted to the concept that to earn said rewards, that raiding would be required. Some people have even gone so far as to shift their normal life schedules around in-game events. I do believe, however, that one day, perhaps a year from now, or perhaps 3 years from now, that the raiding concept of endgame will eventually wane off. Perhaps. However, a sharp shift so far is to replace endgame content from raiding to PvP, perhaps. And it could also cause a significant rift within the WoW community. To replace those from the those that do with those from the those that don't audiences and vice versa in such a sharp contrast could also cause a recession in subscription rates, community confidence and in player knowledge and skill in a worst case scenario. Very interesting point. As to be said, that's from a person called Wib-er. At least that's what I think it is. Rather odd. And we have more emails on this, Stevie Benz, also known as Steve. Well, that's not entirely surprising, is it? Hey TB, wanted to share my thoughts on this week's second win. I think the underlying problem with the current endgame situation is an issue of time. Let's consider legacy rating first. I think it's important because legacy rating sets the tone and standards by which we judge BC rating. Molten Core completed 5 months after US release. Battlegrounds in the Honor System were then implemented. BWL cleared 5 months later in September 2005, roughly 2 months after release. Zul'Gurub introduced, as were the 4 outdoor Green Dragon raid bosses. AQ released in January 2006 and cleared 4 months later. Naxxramas released 2 months later and cleared after 3 months. So what was the point of all that? I'm sure you noticed the pattern. Content release takes 2 to 3 months to clear, followed by a 2 to 3 month buffer period, usually filled with new PvP and outdoor raid content. This gives top-end guilds time to recharge their batteries, gear up and prepare for future content. In BC, we have the majority of the expansion's endgame content available and waiting. It's a seemingly never-ending gauntlet with no breaks in between. Lines of progression have become blurred. Take, for instance, Gruul/Magtheridon. Despite being intended as the first step into 25-man content, they were originally insanely difficult and only killed by the elite guilds. Why? Because I believe Blizzard and the WoW player base are both still holding on desperately to the old raid paradigms established in Legacy raiding. Logically, since Gruul/Magtheridon are the next raid encounter after Naxxramas, Blizzard likely went overboard to their design and made them way too hard. The same can be said for Serpent Shrine and the Eye. If the Black Temple and Mount Hayal are supposed to be the elite endgame of BC, you'd expect SSC and the Eye to be considerably more accessible to mid-level raiding guilds. Blizzard has made it clear they are not happy with raid progress. It seems like everything is getting nerfed these days, but only after it has been cleared by at least a handful of elite guilds. Why? To maintain the old standards of raiding. The elite guilds keep the glory of killing all the bosses pre-nerf, while the rest of us experience the dungeons later, at the difficulty level they were always intended to be, while they move on to more advanced content. I'm happy with that situation. I honestly don't feel bad for Nihilum. No matter how bad the loot was, no matter how painful the trash respawns were, and no matter how many bosses were bugged or untuned, they got the world first. That's what they play for. Clearly they thought it was worth the time and effort. So can Blizzard keep this up indefinitely? Of course they can. Everyone can be satisfied in BC. Hardcore raiders will put up with all the crap as long as fixes come relatively quickly and progress is maintained. Less hardcore raiders are happy as long as they have things to do. Heroics, Arenas, Karazhan, until 25-mans are toned down. And RPers are happy as long as they can slash emote. Can you give a shout out to Typhon, to all my old friends on Silverhand and Zullerhead. Love the show, that's from Steve. Very interesting point, that. It is interesting to see the little timeline of what's actually going on there. The content gets thrown out there and it gets cleared. Pretty much the development time is about how long it takes, as far as I can see, to clear the thing. And that's understandable. And then they fill the time with these little things. However, it's interesting to note that, and this is the topic that I'm going to be coming onto after the break, that they seem to have got ahead of themselves, in fact. Now, you can go to worldofwarcraft.com and check out the forums, and you will notice that the public test realm notes are also posted there. You will have also probably got the information through as an email, and they will be posted on a myriad of other fan sites. So let's go and have a look. And this is where I think Blizzard may be changing their ideas. Now, let's, again, repeat what Steve said. They make a major raid instance, yeah? It gets cleared in about 3 or 4 months, and then, before the next one comes out, they fill it with some easy stuff, like outdoor raid stuff, some PvP stuff, something just to let people chill out, relax, and, like I said, recharge their batteries. Very, very important. Now, let's have a look. PTR 2.1.0 patch notes has been moved to a different form. Thanks, Blizz. Here we go. On we go. Now, we've got the Black Temple. Obviously, that's the biggest raid instance so far in the Burning Crusade. It is the newest raid instance. It is the only raid instance to be brought in after the launch of the game. Yep, so far. We're expecting a huge, multi-winged, and apparently non-linear, all the way up to an epic boss encounter at the end, which has been completely and totally destroyed and spoiled by idiots who decided to go and ruin everything. But never mind. So, now you've got the Druid Epic Flight form coming in. That's irrelevant to what we're talking about. So, this is the interesting thing that I'm going to talk about after the break. We've got a new arena, so there's a little bit new PvP, but we have 1, 2, 3. That is 3 different, what appear to be outdoor endgame raid things. But not so much raids, they're solo and small man content. Now, let's read out a description. The Ethereum Prison, for instance. Players in good standing with the Consortium will be tasked to deal with the most recent activities of the nefarious Ethereum. With new quests, items, and content for the solo and small group level 70, the Ethereum Prison will be the proving ground for many aspiring to greatness. That's very interesting, because that indicates, of course, that you can't really get access to this area unless you're higher ranked with the Consortium, which is cool, but that also indicates that it's an instance, but they haven't said anything about it. They're claiming the solo content, so we can probably assume that it's not going to be an instance. We've got Sketus as well. And about the Sky Guard. Chitauri warriors specialising in the command of skies over Shattrath have taken the offensive directly to the Arakoa capital city, Sketis. Perched high in the mountains of Terracar and only accessible with the use of a flying mount, Sketis holds new and exciting content for the solo or small group level 70 player. All new quests, 5-man person bosses, and rare and epic items and a new type of flying mount await for those willing to lend their sword or stave to the battle. Now, we know that's not going to be an instance, because that's somewhere you've just got to access. If you've already flown over Sketis, you'll be aware of what it looks like. But there's nothing there, at least not at present. Now, that's very interesting, because that's the kind of thing you'd expect them to bring in as a filler when people were, progressing fast through the Black Temple and like, oh, damn it, we need to bring out Zulaman or any number of other things quickly. Oh, let's fill it with some other stuff. But they're bringing it all out at the same time, which I think is very, very interesting indeed. Exceedingly interesting. Well, there you go. That's something I'm going to be covering after the break, folks. So, a conclusion, perhaps, for Second Wind. Is the endgame model sustainable? Well, we have swallowed it for the past 2 years. But you've got to bear in mind that they only brought in... They didn't actually bring in that many instances. They brought in 4 major raid instances, 2 minor raid instances, and some outdoor raid busts. Now, apparently for 2 years that was enough, but you've also got to bear in mind that for a large portion of those 2 years, people were busy leveling up, going through instances and doing all of this stuff, and 60 to 70 did not take anywhere near as long as people claimed it would. Which means people are back to the square of having to deal with this stuff. Now, in my position, as guild leader of Blue Plz, we are in the middle of Karazhan. We are at the curator right now, and he will die on Monday, the little bastard, trust me. And for me, there's a lot of stuff ahead of me. But there's a lot more guilds that are far more advanced than our guild. Of course, because they've been around for longer, they progressed faster than we did. That's just the way it works. Now, for those guilds, will they swallow more? Probably. The question is, can they keep making stuff which is interesting and challenging without falling over and saying, well, what on earth? What on earth are we going to do now? Now, I have a surprise for you. Nobody, to my knowledge, knew that this was going to happen. You heard of something called Ask the Murloc. You've heard of something called Ask the Murlocs. Then, ladies and gentlemen, I present Season 3 of Ask the Murlocs. It begins now.
Last time on Ask the Murloc.
You thought it was all over. You thought there'd been a happy ending. You were wrong. The return of your favorite heroes. The Murloc. Garrett Fear, foolish mortals for design. The Murloc, I returned. Aha! The Soviet Murloc.
Is a mint?
The Chancellor of Bears. Phoenix Wright, the Sock Puppet.
Objection!
Patchwork.
Patchwork want to play.
It's all here in a brand new adventure. Last time on Ask the Murlocs, our brave heroes set out in search of a silver artifact and a mysterious missing sound. After many battles and dangerous traps, the artifact was discovered and wasted. We don't blame it on the sunshine. We don't blame it on the moonlight. We don't blame it on the good times. We blame it on the Soviet Murloc.
It's not my fault!
With the evil protagonist who intended to steal the Murloc's mansion and considerable trust and investment fund locked away, everything was going okay for our heroes. Until one fine day. Ask the Murloc Season 3 begins now. Ainsworth, get over here right now. I require the drinks. The drinks? But what the hell are you doing here?
Is the drinks? You wanted the drinks? I bring the drinks. I bring the cookies too.
Drinks and cookies? Well, that sounds rather nice. What did you bring me?
I bring you the beef cookie.
Beef cookies? What is a beef cookie? No.
And the pineapple juice.
But, that is the most disgusting peasant food I've ever heard in my life. I go down the ghetto all the time, and I see these non-homies, and they be skillin'. and providing me with beef cookies. It's horrible, 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 horrible stuff in the...
Is you see me rolling? You hating?
Yes, because I am so white and slimy.
Hey, what is you doing, cousin?
I'm dancing. Leave me alone.
What? Why is you dancing? You was not dancing when I come in the room. What was you doing?
I be illen, dear foe.
You is sick. We get you to doctor soon.
I have a mild cold, but it's fine. I don't wish to pay the bills. You know, I'm on a very tight budget here.
Is a budget?
Yes.
What is budget?
A budget is where I tell people how rich I am and how and why they should not take my money.
Oh, in old country, no one have money. Everybody pay with snow.
Snow?
With snow, yes. 1 handful of snow for bread. 2 handful of snow for cow.
That's a rather interesting investment opportunity, one might think.
5 handful of snow is a big bottle of vodka.
There appears to be someone at the door. Cousin, you are useless and worthless. Go and answer it for me, please.
Okay, I bring the door. Dum da 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 da. Oh, hello. Who is you?
I am Bob.
Hello, Bob. I am Soviet Murloc.
I am Bob 2.
Hello, Bob 2. You is Bob and Bob 2.
Yes, I am Bob, and he is Bob 2.
You is sound very same.
Well, that is just the way.
You is look same too. You is both wear suit. You is both have tie. You both have glasses.
Silence, fool. We are.
You is sound like my cousin. Silence, fool. Coward fear mortals. 'Tis I, Murloc.
If I could quite finish, dear sir, we are the ARS.
What is that?
The Azeroth Revenue Service, and it has come to our attention that a Mr. T. Murloc Esquire is guilty of tax evasion.
I don't know how he evade tax. He have no legs. He cannot dodge any tax.
We heard he imported some highly exotic and also highly illegal mechanical legs and did not pay import tax. This angers Bob 2. Bob 2, explain your anguish. I am very angry.
This no good. I go fetch cousin. Cousin!
Yes, what?
Man is here about legs.
Legs? Well, what about my legs? Let me get over here.
Legs is illegal.
What? How can having legs be illegal? Look, you have legs, don't you?
Yes,
well,
but my legs is not metal and from another dimension.
True. Well, yeah, you have legs, don't you? While our legs are from another dimension, they were paid for legitimately. Oh. So what exactly is the problem? Well, you see, Mr. T. Murloc Esquire, the import tax on this particular item. Why don't you tell him, Bob, too? It's awfully exciting. The import tax on this item is 5 trillion billion gold.
Ooh, that's a lot of gold. That is, many gold.
5 billion trillions... What is zillion gold? Oh, dear. Can't I just pay you in snow? No.
Yes, snow is good.
No.
Snow buy you many things. You go north of border, you buy many things with snow. You come back, is a lawless land where men is men, women is men, and children is FBI.
No. We cannot accept snow at this time. Until, Mr. T. Murloc Esquire, you have paid off this amount, we will be throwing you out of the house.
Eh? You mean you no own house, cousin?
Of course I own a house. See, I've got the deed to and everything. Hey, give that back!
What? You can't do that. He
Yes.
own deed. He no pay mortgage.
We are the ARS, or ARS for short. We can do whatever we please.
Oh well. Look like I'm back to living in milk carton. He's not so bad, but give terrible gas.
Oh, God, no. A disaster. Everything was going so well. We'd got back from that ridiculous adventure. We'd locked up our evil grandmother, and everything was going so well, and then Arse come and ruin it for everybody.
Cousin. I sensing conspiracy.
Conspiracy? What the devil are you talking about? It's quite obvious. These imported strong legs have got to be thrown out of the house, and it's all over. It's all over.
But wait. How does Arts know you have legs? You not tell anyone. You not even leave house.
That is a good point. Hang on. I'm wearing these St. George by Duffer trousers. They can't even see my legs.
You see? It's conspiracy.
Let's get back into this house immediately. Oh dear.
House is locked.
Oh. What is your lockpicking skill?
I don't know. I have a lock-picking skill?
What about a small C4 in charge?
Eh? You talk about Nobody take engineering is worst profession of all. Goggles do nothing. My eyes.
Oh God. Oh. So what you're basically telling me is that somebody planted this information.
Could be.
Who could it be?
I don't know. Many people want to kill us.
Well, it seems that there's only one possible alternative.
Go on ridiculous quest taking many episodes and eating up valuable airtime to make silly?
With vigilante justice.
Also good.
You're listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Plz. You can listen in live on Sundays at 17:30 GMT. That's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time with a lively musical pre-show kicking off 1 hour beforehand. If you like WoW Radio's productions, then make sure to dig our shows at dig.com and check out our website at www.wcradio.com. This is a very special thank you to all of our iTunes listeners who continue to subscribe to our podcasts and download using the iTunes client. Did you know that you can in fact review and rate our podcasts using the iTunes client simply by going to the feeds page and writing yourself a review?
Show me what you've got!
This not only helps us to gather valuable feedback about our shows and improve the quality of our output,
Show them no mercy!
but also provides us with the valuable promotion that we need to push the station to the next level.
I'm just getting warmed up.
So take a moment out of your day and rate and review us using iTunes. Thank you for your continued support.
The time for practice is over. Show me what you've learned.
Fully licensed and stamped approved by the Cenarian Circle Women's Auxiliary. You're listening to WOW Radio.
Yes! But you didn't see that one coming. That's the Murloc Season 3 Episode 1 kicking off only here on Blue Plz. This is WOW Radio, this is TotalBiscuit. This is Cake Town! Right, okay, let's get on with it. So, there is a lot of new things, new stuff, things and the combination of stuff and things. Stings! I'm really not very good at this, am I? Anyway, so, we have these new mini encounters. Yes, like mini instances or mini zones, we just don't know. However, we intend to find out. Well, we don't really intend to find out. We intend to speculate. Now, so far, I must say that none of the information on the WoW forums as regards to any of this is any help whatsoever. Which is kind of sucky, to be honest. It really is. So let's have a look at WoW Wiki. Well, you will see, if you look at WoW Wiki and check out WoW Head as well, you will find some interesting things as regards to these zones. Now, the Sketis quests. For instance, you will find there is this quest called the Sketis Offensive. And you need to go and wage war on Sketis. Have you gathered enough to help us with Shatrat's defense? Hold off the attackers. Interesting. So we've got all this stuff. There's a lot of interesting things coming up, by the looks of it. And it looks like what we're getting is a collection of mini zones as regards to questing, small group encounters, and nice rewards, which one can assume will require some degree of rep in order to acquire, at least when it comes to epic items. Yes! I did just say epic! So, it'll be interesting to see whether or not that is the case. Now, let's have a look at what we think this could be based on. Let's go back in time using mystical powers.
Let's go back in time
to Silithus. Silithus, notorious in the fact that it was completely useless up until just before, if you remember correctly, there was a little instance called Anchorage. Just before that, a few contents before that, they introduced an entire new questing hub in Silithus. All this new stuff. What stuff? That's the question. Well, let's find out. What happened in Silithus? Now, Silithus had a central quest hub for both factions in the form of the Cenarian Hold. Okay? And from there you could acquire various quests, go out into the not-so-nice desert and get attacked by a variety of different insects. You could also do a variety of different quests involving the interesting conspiracy regarding the Twilight Cult. And you could earn all this rep with the Cenarian something or other. I can't even remember what they are. The Cenarian... It wouldn't be the Cenarian Expedition. I don't know. Anyway, Cenarian rep, specifically, would allow you to acquire various items. But it wouldn't just do that. That's why it was a little bit different than usual. The higher up you got, the more you got access to. Take for a prime example. In Silithus, there are windstones. There are lesser windstones, and greater windstones. Now, you can, using specific items, unlock these windstones in order to get bosses, yeah? Everyone should already, well, at least if you started playing before the Burning Crusade, you should know all about that. All these different bosses. Abyssal bosses, specifically. Abyssal Templars, Abyssal Dukes, and Abyssal Lords, which were progressively more difficult as you went through, and the Abyssal Lords requiring a small form raid group. Although I believe they can now be 5-man quite easily. So, you had these things, and they would drop nice things, and they will also give you abyssal signets, abyssal something or other, and abyssal things. I can't remember any of them. The abyssal scepter, of course. So, the abyssal scepter would be an epic item which would allow you to acquire a chest of spoils, and in this chest of spoils there would be lots of gold, mats, potions, epic items, sometimes some nice BOE blues, and all that good stuff. But you could only get into that originally if you were revered, and you'd acquired all of these different things. You'd need various sets to unlock the lower windstones, to get the stuff to make the larger talisman, which you would wear to get into the bigger windstones, and eventually all of these mats would culminate in an attack on an abyssal lord. And if you wiped, then you'd waste all of that, which was a right nightmare, because of course it was all outdoor and ganking was a serious possibility. But it was interesting, no two ways about that. So, that was one element of it. The rep itself was linked in specifically with Anchorage. In fact, there were two reps. There were the Cenarian rep and the Brood of Nosdomo rep. And each would allow you different things. The Nosdomo rep basically unlocks you a better ring, which at one point, the Exalted Ring was pretty much one of the best rings in the game at the time. The Cenarian rep would unlock a variety of different things, but there was something of a synergy. You would find that items which you'd have to acquire from AQ, specifically 20, for these particular sets, would require also a specific rep with the Cenarian. But Cenarian rep could be acquired while being in the instance, so it was kind of a natural progression. You acquired your mats from inside the instance, you got the rep inside the instance, you could also get the rep outside the instance by grinding Twilight texts, killing Abyssal Dukes, Templars, Lords, etc., etc., doing quests, and then you could acquire your items. And of course, as you're aware, Nosdomo rep got you the ring, and it wasn't really any point whatsoever in even counting that, because the amount of rep you got in there was absurd, but it would also allow you access to tier 2.5. But the rep requirements for that were so low that they're barely worth considering. So, overall, in my opinion, an exceedingly well put together zone, a coherent storyline leading up to the Karaji invasion, the War of the Shifting Sands, as it was called. I'm not a big lore buff, but it was still pretty cool nonetheless for the 5 seconds of the event I managed to watch before my computer crashed. The zone itself, very well put together. Exceedingly well put together, in my honest opinion. Now, we can only hope that they are using what I would call the Silithus Equation. The Silithus Equation being they are using the lessons they've learned from Silithus and taking it all the way along and making these mini zones. Now, let's have a look at WoWWiki and find out what we know about the Shatari Skyguard. The first zone that I know of, the Sketis specifically, will allow you access to various things. Now, you get a new rep. We knew this was going to happen. You get a new rep, and it's rep with the Shatari Skyguard, and you get neutral reputation to begin with. Now, Exalted Reputation gives you access to a Netherray mount, which sounds scary as hell. I wouldn't really want to be flying around on some kind of crazy winged eel. But anyway, this is what I know about the 2.1.0 public test run. Players are introduced to the Shatari Skyguard by speaking to Eula, a recruitment officer next to the Flight Master Neutral in Shatath City. She has players kill any 20 Gordani ogres in the newly populated Barrier Hills above Shatarath. Once completed, she asks players to deliver a package to Skyjarge and Dorian in the Blackwind Landing north of Sketis to open up the once daily Fires Above Sketis bombing run quest. Now, this is really interesting, because in the patch, they've introduced daily quests, as in, they can only be done once a day. So, you can't just go and grind and grind and grind. Everyone can progress at the same pace. Now, this is a very, very intriguing concept that I will come onto a little bit later on. Now, also at Blackwind Landing, Skyguard Handler Dezek has players kill 10 warp stalkers around Sketis, so another area in your possession can be fed. He also indicates the availability of a direct flight path between Blackwind and Skyguard base in Blades Edge Mountains. Severin initiates the main quest line for Shatari Skyguard, having players collect 6 Shadow Dust and create an Elixir of Shadows for Sky Commander Adaris. After the initials quest, players may repeatedly turn in a single Shadow Dust for another Elixir of Shadows, 8 gold, and 250 reputation. That's nice. I would hit it. No two ways about that. The Elixir gives a 10-minute buff that does not last through death, enabling players to see the Shadow Arakar of Sketis, necessary for several quests. Adaris has players kill 3 Talon Priests, one of whom drops an item to initiate the next part of the chain. All the Talon Priests require players to have the Elixir of Shadows buff in order to see and kill it, as well as the Time Lost Araquar in the subzone. The quest starter drop from one of the Talon Priests gets turned into Adaris, who sends players to the lower city, blah blah blah, ad infinitum. Now, there is a large quest at the end called Adversarial Blood, which apparently requires 80 Time Lost Scrolls that drop from the Time Lost Araquar in the subzone in order to summon and kill 4 quest mobs. The quest text indicates it's a group quest, it's not marked as such. There is also a soloable daily escort quest offered by a captive Skyguard. All this daily stuff is interesting. Now, it seems to me, look, we've got a summonable stuff. We've got summonable quest mobs. Yeah? Which do seem to me like, hey, look, it's back to Silithus again. Now, they are apparently a group quest, at least so the text indicates, although they're not marked as such, but then again, it's public test realm, you don't expect that. So it would be reasonable to suggest that those soloable mini-bosses as such were group quests. Kind of like Abyssal Templars, Abyssal Dukes, and Abyssal Lords. Now, the daily quest thing is really interesting because one of the failures of Silithus was its huge grindy nature and the huge amount of work that it required to get yourself to Exalted with that particular reputation. Now, with the introduction of daily quests, you can safely assume that, oh look, it's very casual friendly. Now, I was never a massive proponent of grinding is casual friendly, but I did understand the idea that it allows you to progress at your own pace. Every single thing you do has a quantifiable value associated with it, meaning that everything you do, even if it's just one thing, will propel you very slowly along the road to your destination. Now, it seems like Blizzard are going to some extreme here to introduce these daily quests. They can be done once a day, and they give a certain amount of rep and certain things. It means that to acquire certain items, there is going to be a time constraint. You cannot grind like hell. Now, I'll tell you what I really like about this. You can't buy the stuff, which means that it's not going to be, oh, Zomg, grinders and gold farmers go and acquire all of this stuff, and then you can just buy it on the AH, profit, win, etc. In this case, you actually have to work for it, which is fine. Let's bring back the phrase that we love. I need to drop in for this. Progressive content. Let me make a drop in right now.
Progressive content!
Yes. So, progressive content. Now, progressive content is a very good thing, on some levels. It allows for the acquisition of various items. But you've got to bear in mind that you've got to be really careful with how good and how not so good those items are. If they're not good enough, people aren't going to bother getting them. If they are too good, then yeah. They need to be better than 5-man instance drops. That is definitely the case. So they need to actually be lower raid quality. They need to be Karazhan quality, which is then, of course, going to get people ranting, ZOMG, they can get all of this stuff without having to go into an instance. Now, usually I would say, yeah, that's pretty unacceptable. But, very, very important is one particular element. Time. Time. People always say, well, I spent X number of hours in wherever to get this, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Now, that's fine. But you do have to then actually stay there, sit there, get on, and do it. And it's going to be a case of where you do not have the ability to finish it in a day. You've got to actually dedicate day after day after day to it. And that's fine. I mean, that should be fine for people. Really. Why wouldn't it be, in my honest opinion? Why would that not be fine? I see no particular reason why not. I think it's a really solid idea, to be quite honest. I really do. For a, quote, casual player who can only log in, say, 1 hour a day, it is not unreasonable for him to go and complete these quests daily. It takes dedication, but, oh, no, effort and dedication required to get loot insanity. What do you think this is, World of Warcraft? So, yeah. Sounds relatively good. There is, of course, the flip side that some people could say, woo, yet more samey quests. Well, here's some facts for you. WoW is based on quests and instances. It has been since the dawn of time. Now, places like EverQuest 2 make advertising ploys out of how many new quests they've added. Questing is a significant chunk of the game. And it's not going to go away. And it's, again, the hidden grind. We all know it's the hidden grind, but it's particularly well hidden, especially in the Burning Crusade. The questing was a lot more enjoyable. The storyline was a bit better, the rewards were better, things were a little bit more interesting from time to time. And of course, the new zones really helped. I can conclude that, to be honest, if they do pull off this mini Silithus idea, then that is a very, very good thing indeed. If they can pull it off. If they can pull it off, then yes, brilliant. 110%, I'm right behind them on that. Adding new things is good, no two ways about that. Adding it in parallel to new raid content, even better. Good game, keep it up. That's all I can say about that. You're listening to Blue Plz here on WoW Radio with myself, TotalBiscuit. I've got some nubcake news for you, and, well, let me put it this way. Engineering's really getting shafted. So we're taking the mick, of course. This is Nubcake News. Enjoy. Nubcake News! Stop that. Welcome to this week's edition of Nubcake News. Coming up later in the program, we look into the mysterious lost city of Darnassus, and why exactly we never noticed it before now. Plus, SM Graveyard, the new endgame content for Burning Crusade. But first, Blizzard Entertainment, popular purveyors of advanced gardening equipment, have been responding recently to the concerns of engineers as to the fact that their profession is clearly overpowered. Spokesmen are quoted as saying, "With engineering as powerful as it is at present, we are finding that more and more players are taking up the skill, forcing prices and profit margins down. We need to feed our families too, you know, and how can we possibly do that when our gnomish battle chickens only sell for 400 gold apiece? Ludicrous." A clearly dangerous economic situation, with the world market on a knife edge after the collapse of Gammon Industries and as such a world shortage of personalised stationery. Blizzard rulers of the free world must act. And it appears that they have. We have just received a very special report from our economic correspondent, High Overlord Southbank. Jim? Thanks, Mick. And I'm just getting word that my name is not in fact Jim at all, but in fact Francis Leopold Ensworth. In other news, Blizzard Entertainment has recently announced the Azeroth Engineering Fair. It appears they've decided that the only solution to engineering's common profession dominance is to make it even more powerful, by demonstrating a variety of new and exciting inventions for the world to see. Here are just a few of them.
Preview event for the Azeroth Engineering Fair, a place where inventions designed to counteract the impending threat of communism can be demonstrated to their full potential. Behold the majesty of this, the automated engineering goggle organizer, capable of sorting through an engineer's entire array of goggles at an amazing 37 pairs per second. Here we see our test subject trying the latest goggle technology against the most insidious and hideous of threats, a torn in a leather thong.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
Having wheeled away and given an ice cream, next on our agenda, sure to make the engineering even more powerful than before, the Goblin Cruise missile. Capable of fly-by-wire navigation with a cross-continental range, this missile can be manufactured for a mere 3,000 corium bar and a 175 primal fire, inflicting a devastating 120 fire damage to anyone within a 5-mile radius. Let's see it in action. Oh, God damn it, 120 damage, 1% dual loss, damn these deadly intercontinental ballistic weapons. And moving swiftly on, we present to you the Gnomish Mage Utility Belt, fitted with all the modern conveniences, allowing you the power to conjure water at will for nothing more than the cost of your own mana pool. Plus built-in teleportation capabilities, powered by tiny economic runes, a must for any environmentalist. And last but not least, the Gnomish Mage Utility Belt will allow you to blink, sometimes even forwards. Order now and also receive this free wall of repellent spray. Dot away. Amazing! Astonishing! Nerf it immediately! This and more at the Azeroth Engineering Fair. Engineering, the only choice for the truly hardcore.
You're listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Plz. You can listen in live on Sundays at 17:30 GMT. That's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time with a lively musical pre-show kicking off 1 hour beforehand. If you like WoW Radio's productions, then make sure to dig our shows at dig.com and check out our website at www.wcradio.com.
This is WoW Radio, the Weekend Report.
Do not say they heard us singing just now. Oh my god, Lito, you are so fired.
The Lore Keepers.
Let's start with the random lore questions, okay?
Pandaren. Will we ever be able to faction up with them? AKA, will they ever come out of where they're hiding and say hello?
WoW Things Considered.
Sir, I'm a reporter for WoW Things Considered. Can I get a moment of your time?
Flame, death, destruction.
Vendor Trash.
I said, hey, Static, we don't even know exactly what's wrong with you. You want to do a radio show on Fridays at 7? I was like, yeah, sure, guys, I'd love to do it. Let's call it Vendor Trash. What a stupid-ass name.
Max Speed.
What are warlocks famous for in PvP sphere? Are they famous for DPSing? No. What are they famous for, Max?
Blue Plz.
The reason there is such a difficulty disparity right now is that Blizzard has completely abandoned Legacy Raid content.
Octale and Hordak versus the world.
Hey, Hordak, you're looking kind of sluggish, man.
Yeah, I know. I gotta build up some more rage before we can get started.
On the cards.
You must believe in the heart of the cards. I'm at FDR.
Nobody cares, Grandpa.
And new for 2007, World of Theorycraft, Deus Ex Machinima, and The X. Many shows, left side, everyone. Find out more at www.wcradio.com.
Yes, that sounds a Finn troll with... What the hell was that, anyway? It's Slagbrother. Oh, something like that. I really can't pronounce my Finnish and or Swedish or whatever the hell it might happen to be. This is Blue Plz, however, on WoW Radio myself, TotalBiscuit. Well, I've got another 28 minutes before the Mighty Octale and Hordak versus the world commences. So, I have 2 more topics which I would like to deal with. However... First, I've been asked by people to tell them whether or not we are going to BlizzCon and what we think's going to happen at BlizzCon. Well, let me put it this way. If they were doing a BlizzCon, one would assume that they are announcing something. Let me think what that could be. Yeah. Let me think. StarCraft 2, Diablo 3, maybe? There you go. That's pretty much what's going to happen. I would be willing to bet significant amounts of money on it. Yes, and, of course, any other information that they may or may not have about the WoW expansion, of course. We will, against fire, hell, and all the flak cannons in the world, be flying over there, and we will be at BlizzCon. And if, Blizzard willing, of course, if we manage to do what we did last time, it will be 10 times as epic. Yes, I did just say it. We are going to kick some ass and take some names and hopefully do some broadcasting live from the floor, a hell of a lot of it. If any of you watched our coverage last time, you'll know what to expect. Only a lot better than last time. But, again, that is all up in the air at the moment. We're going to have to budget for it, we're going to have to fundraise for it, and we're going to have to, of course, get Blizzard's permission to do it. So, that's all that I know at this point in time. But I will be there, hell or high water. And badgers with wings. So, now this is a little bit of a dodgy topic, to say the least. But I would like to talk about the complete and total worthlessness of Legacy Zones right now. Now, in my opinion, let's face it, Azeroth right now, the actual land of Azeroth as opposed to the Outlands, is only useful for 2 kinds of people. Alts. Alts and newbies kind of go in the same thing. People leveling up, and, of course, gold farmers. Evil aquatic gold farmers. Now, the problem right now, is that now that these zones are being cleared out, there's absolutely no one to kill these little buggers. So they're all over the place. Absolutely all over the place. Now, let's test right now. I hope my computer doesn't crash from doing this. It has been known to. I'm going to log into WoW right now. And I would ask all of you to do the same. If you play WoW in a window, which I do, or you're already in WoW, let's log in. Click play. Come on, WoW, you know you want to load, not like my PC. Filling airtime. In a freeform jazz style. There we go. Come on, loading screen. There we go. It is such a lovely loading screen, is it not? Now, username and password, in we go. Logging into Total Halibut, the level 70 mage on Mazrugo PvP. Let's have a look. As the loading screen bar moves incredibly slowly, I am going to ask you to do a few things. I want you to do who, yeah, use who, the who command. Now do who Deadwind. I also want you to do specifically who Ashara. Ashara's probably a better bet, because Deadwind, of course, does still have some people in there for Karazhan, which is obviously completely legit. Now, I want you to do who Ashara. I am in-game right now. Who Ashara. There we go. Who Ashara. Now, I am looking at all of these insanely leveled people. Now, Hunter, Mushroom. Yes, many hunters left side, including the amazingly named Wow Boy and Dixlule, Schlizgme, and Le Canoe. All, of course, level 60. And there's a paladin there, level 70. Now, we can safely say that gold farmers do not use paladins. Let's face it. That is probably the worst method of farming I've ever seen, if you ever actually want to make any money out of it. So, yeah. All of these guys. Now, let's have a look at some other zones, shall we? Who Badlands? Hunter, and there's a druid there, which is fair enough. What else have we got? Who, let's think. Where else could they be? Where could they be hiding? Who's Silithus? Hunter. What a surprise. And of course, if you even do Who Deadwind, you will find people who are blindingly obviously bots. Now, the interesting thing is that this is a rather unique opportunity. I would like you to, right now, send me in an email stating how many bots you've actually managed to find in an Outland zone. That would be interesting to see, and I want to compare that number to the amount that are available in-game right now. Now, I'm logging out of the game, so leave me alone, and a quick shout to Jiru and the Legacy who are doing Lady Vash right now. Good luck, folks. Good luck. Anyway, so you will find that there are specific mechanics within the Outland which make botting incredibly difficult. Of course, the first mechanic is the addition of the third axis, the Z-axis, as in vertical. You will find that a lot of the best farming areas are in the air. Now, I don't believe that there are any particular botting programs that are good enough to deal with that idea. Not only that, but you can fall off the side. That's a really important element. If you've seen my Chronicles videos or any other of the gold farming expose videos, you will see that bots have a tendency to run into walls. That's because, of course, they're coded so that they know if they're moving, then that's cool. If they stop moving, they know that they've hit something and they need to turn around. You will see them running into walls all the time. Now, if you don't stop moving when you fell off the side of a floating island into oblivion, so that's not going to work. You'll also find that the mobs in Burning Crusade have little things which make them a little bit more difficult to deal with, such as knockdowns, spell interrupts, things which require you to actually be there and semi-conscious in order to kill them. Now, that is quite important. That makes farming, especially for bots, incredibly difficult. More difficult before than last time. So have a look and rack your brains and see how many farmers you've actually seen. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't any. There are, obviously. I've just got an email from Metalman who says there's one bot, a rogue, in Hellfire Peninsula. Now, that's cool. Hellfire Peninsula doesn't really have those amazing farming areas. Now, Lexi just gave me a really interesting bit of information. There's some hunters in the Grand. Me and a paladin mate kited a ton of them over the edge of the Outlands. Now, you will know, of course, that There are, of course, loads of people farming, elementals. The elemental plateau. Got to be got there by flying mount, but it's not inconceivable. Admittedly, there's a lot more work in getting them out there, getting them a flying mount, and you've got to, as a human, get up there and then send it away botting. There is still a risk that they'll fall off the side. And again, it's a little bit more difficult. A lot more difficult. They are harder mobs. They require you to at least be semi-conscious to do particularly well. Now that's very good countermeasures. The problem is, of course, that none of this has been implemented into the main game. The money that you can earn farming a completely empty zone. I mean, Ashara, look at Ashara. Nobody there except for bots and one level 70 paladin. It's free reigning for all of them. Absolutely. And that's a real problem. Because they can go on to their heart's content, and that really, well, that sucks. Now, look at the Elemental Plateau, where this is a very popular farming area for humans, and the humans will just gank the bots, or kite them over the cliff, or whatever, and it's not so much of an issue. Now, the question is, what can be done about it? What should be done about it, if anything? Now, I'm going to say something rather controversial, and say that, as far as I'm concerned, those zones need nerfing to hell, as regards to the drops and money. Now, if you want to make them friendly for that, the kind of person who's going to be going there through by default, you want to add some more quests into it, yeah? Now, that's a legitimate thing of doing. You're not going to stay in a shower for too long. There's no particular reason to. There's also no particular reason for any sane player to farm legacy zones, because the amount of money that you can get from Burning Crusade zones is significantly higher. Yeah? It's also a lot more interesting. The quests are a lot better, the XP's a lot better if you're grinding that, if you're farming for stuff. And why farm for all of these mats when they're pretty much useless right now? No one's really interested in legacy mats either, with the exception of a few basic items. However, it's cash and vendor that is, you can have a huge army of bots. If you have 1 million monkeys and 1 million keyboards, you will eventually produce Chris Metzen's lore manual. And I think that's actually what happened. But anyway, that's a side project. You will find, of course, that it's there. It's certainly a possibility that you just get this many bots, you farm, and you end up vendoring all of this stuff. And you don't have anyone attempting to stop you. And that's understandable. You can't expect people, no matter how anti-gold farmer they may be, to sit around in a zone with no one in and kill these people to their heart's content when it's of no benefit to them. You can't expect that. It's completely unreasonable. Now, unless I make another Chronicles movie, you can't expect me to go and do that either. Although I will do it on the way to Karazhan. But you may say, well, nerfing that is, of course, a nerf to the players who are legitimately using the zone. I disagree, because they're not there to farm. Why would they be? Again, I've said, it's insane. They are there to quest and get through the zone, progress through the zone to the next zone. That's cool. What you need to do, especially in zones like Ajara, which is a very large spread out zone with not too many quests, is increase the amount of quests there. Now, is it a waste of dev time? Arguably, yes. But you've really got a choice. Either you remodel those zones or you abandon them, which is effectively what's happened. I hate the idea that X many zones have been abandoned for a 6-zone area through the Dark Portal. As interesting and cool as the Dark Portal areas may be, that is just a waste. It really is. And right now it's pretty much being used as a hellhole for farming. Gold farming specifically, botting. Lots of botting. I'd say that it would be safe to pretty much ban 99% of the players in those zones, and I would say that it would be pretty unlikely for you to actually catch a legitimate player there. So what am I suggesting? Quite simple. Again, nerf the zone. Make it better, specifically improve it for legitimate players by adding new quest hubs and new questing areas. Now, people do have alts, so they will go through that content again. There is a point in having it there. Anyone that rolls an alt and actually gets anywhere with it will get to that new content. Make some nice, interesting quest content, link it all up, but nerf the amount of gold, the vendor drops and everything that are dropped from the mobs there. Because if you don't, then all that's going to end up happening is you get infinite number of farmers going through there over and over and over again. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. It really does. Now, of course, after the break, I will be letting you know as to the results of where are the farmers and what they be grinding. And our last little second win for tonight before we hand over to the one and only Octail and Hordak. But we have wrapping the forums this week. The horrors of. Enjoy. Yo, 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 folks, shizzle and so forth. It's time for yet another edition of the one and only Wrapping the Forums, where we take the worst threads imaginable on the forums and turn them into hip-hop beats and styling, and everyone runs for cover. Boom, boom. Right, let us go. And the question is, why no? Pompyro nerf. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Pom plus Pyro should be nerfed. It's a ruin PvP and make low HP classes free on nah. Measures have pretty much lowest HP out of all classes, but they can turn mana pool to HP, so not really low HP. We can hurt. Me thinks he means that mana shield. It gives mages a little extra time before they die. But to be honest, mate, mana shield does not do much but waste the mage's mana, which stop them casting spells. Smile effect, but yet they can take out enemies before they reach them / sigh. I would like to ask why. Pom plus AP plus Pyro wasn't nerfed as well since Death Wish and Enrage was. You mean the crappy shield that absorbs 700 DMG and costs 1,400 mana who mage equals dead mage? Instead of calling upon us, why don't you all just ask politely for a buff? Yeah, why don't you remove all the mage charlottes while they're at it? Wouldn't that be fun? Why about Skill Coil and Cloak of Skill, or maybe Skill Reaver or Mage Hunter? Well, man, the shield isn't really worth the effort, but 3 minutes bye-bye is. Some classes actually need to wait 10 minutes before they can even think about attack with 60% win shots. I've never seen a Death Cone of a Cloak of Shadows one-shot anyone before. So now Pom plus Pyro is instant-win. Cool, I gotta spec that then. If you go one-shot it in TBC, you need more stamina. Again, more losers moaning about AP/Pom/Pyro. More stamina, less DPS. You can't have both, you see. And you at least have one chance to run away from a waller because dots don't do 4 to 6k damage. Yeah, we need more running about Skill Coil, Mage Hunter, Skill Reaver, and Cloak of Skill. Fun. Big hits equals less stamina. Less stamina equals less effort to kill mage. Dead mage equals you win. Oh, really?
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about its power level? It's over 9,000! Vegeta, what does the scouter say about its power level?
Yo, more stamina. How often do non-warriors run around with 10k HP? No can do. He/he killed me before I could attack /him or her. Fear the mighty Enrage. Irony, with Enrage this little warrior created an incredible 81846. Gasp, indeed, it truly deserved a nerf, indeed. Oh, he even got a 608 white crit. The horror, imagine if he had used his Death Wish. /irony, seriously, this warrior nerf wasn't called for. Always fun when people walk into a troll's trap. So I suddenly run faster than him so that he will never catch me, I see. And those dots do more than enough damage. Isn't it about time you close the pie hole now? I'm getting tired of answering your posts, which make absolutely no sense at all. Yes, and we all expect full stamina because our mages. We should only focus full stamina and forget int plus heal. 'Tis how world or teamcraft works. So we all spec stamina. Okay, you go do that. Feast your eyes upon this one, Mr. Troll. I've known got lucky. I took all my mail armor off, or would I have the WTF pony with me being a hunter, which everyone is scared as hell of. Who needs roads when you got these kind of dirty tricks? But didn't even knew there was a mage until I was dead. Just don't ban me, QQ. Pretty much every class should have close to over 10k unbuffed HP in 5 vs 5 arena, or with buffs you should pass it easily. If you don't want to stack up on stamina because you lose damage, then you are a critting clown. A PvP is not for you. Please move to BWL so you can pew on mobs that take extra magic damage. I got one-shotted by a mage in my tanking gear. That's roughly 12,000 health. I'm not afraid to say my tanking gear sucks, but it's friggin' 12,000 health. I'm not gonna pretend it happens often though. But it sure is annoying running around seeing mages casting for bullets instantly everywhere. So a mage one-shots you and your 12k HP tanking gear if you report down to 3k health. Even though I'm pissed off at the warrior nerfs, I just gotta act that warriors do go ooh. They can keep going until they die, unlike mages. Still, though, 3k Fire Blast crit and my 3k MS is attaining overpowered, right? So you are 10k HP on buff. Let's see your armory stats. 7884 HP. Now let's see the screenshot. Pompyro 64000. And then it's a Fire Blast of 34000. You are in dead 1.5 seconds. With which I mean the guy does have a point. It isn't the way PvP should be. And it isn't the way better PvP balance was promoted. Who says I'm playing arenas?
Help!
Oops.
Help! 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 I'm being repressed!
Computer enhanced, digitally mastered, and completely downloadable. It's the really hyperactive and totally interactive WOW Radio. WCRadio.com.
Yar! I have 10 minutes remaining, and this is Blue Plz with TotalBiscuit here on WoW Radio, the horrible, horrific sounds of rap in the forums, because I hate my listeners with a fiery passion. That is obviously clear. Although for some reason I didn't lose any, which is scary. It really is. I expect to lose, maybe 300, 400 listeners every time I do that. But no, it never happens, which is really worrying. And I find you lot very, very frightening indeed. However, let's get on with it. I've got 10 minutes now, 9 minutes. Running short on time as the precious seconds tick away. Right. Now, bots in Outlands. We have some reports on regards to that. Will says, bots in Outlands. There is a hunter outside Shatrath killing the basilisks near the lake. And I would love to actually load the rest of it. But Gmail is apparently broken. Good game. Good game indeed. Just because I have 57 Firefox windows open does not mean it has to break on me. Okay, let's close all the windows and see what happens. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Ooh, look, I've got 400 megs of memory back. Come on, load, you accursed tripe. Ah, let's see where we go. Gmail.com. The Murloc. Let's see where we go. Okay, Will. Bots in Outlands. There is a hunter outside Shatrath killing the basilisk near the lake. He was there when I went down to the lake to farm primal water, and when I left several hours later, he was still there. This continued for about a week while I found primal water for my epic mount. He might still be there, I don't know. He used the same path all the time and teleported all over the place. Gold farmers in the Blades Edge Mountains. I've only seen one. A few days ago in the Blades Edge Mountains below the town with Rexar farming raptors / ogres. Hunter, of course, when I woke up the next day, he was still there farming. Ugh. Nasty. What do we got? Well, at the moment, Terracar Forest on Defiance Brotherhood EU is crawling with bots. Mage bots, hunter bots, warlock bots. On my daily gank pass, I've ganked around 3 different hunters, 1 mage and 2 different warlocks. So there they are. Loads of bots at the tombs and at Firewind Point farming Aldor Squire rep thingies. Ugh, horrible. Well, what I would say is that there are probably significantly less right now, because it's easier to run an army of bots in a zone which is easy to farm than it is to run in zones like that. But then again, it's a whole risk-reward thing going on there. In my opinion, that if they really want to deal with that, they really do have to start adding more and more elements to these mobs that really screw over, particularly pets. Blinking hunters. No one likes hunters anyway. It's not like anyone actually plays a hunter, so we can safely nerf hunters and it'll be fine. Anyway, just something to consider, in my honest opinion, for Blizzard there. Look at the way that your mobs work. The more complex your mobs are, the less likely a farmer is going to be able to actually farm it effectively. And make it universal. Okay, I have one last topic for today, and that is specifically, as you are well aware, Second win for this week. It's about the Black Temple. Of course, we had to mention the Black Temple before the end of this show. So, the Black Temple. And I'm going to ask you the following question, and I'm going to offer a prize. Yes, I'm actually going to offer a prize this week. I'm going to offer a 2-month WoW time card to the best answer to this question. And you've got all week to do it. The next show will air, of course, on April the 22nd. You've got until April the 22nd to give me the best answer to this. How can it possibly be more difficult than what we've already gone up against? This is the Black Temple. Now design me a boss encounter. Design me a difficult, challenging boss encounter. Now you can either make it funny, or you can make it serious and complicated. You can even draw me pictures. The best one will win a 2-month WoW time card, courtesy of me. Freebie for doing nothing. People send these emails in anyway, and I'm actually giving you free stuff. It's inconceivable. So, send it in. Design me a Black Temple boss encounter. So, question is, how can it be any more difficult? And what kind of difficulty level are we even looking at? We have heard, at this point, nothing as regards to the attuned for the Black Temple. Absolutely nothing whatsoever, and that is kind of disturbing. It also means that the attunement may be incredibly easy. We also don't know anything about the difficulty level. Is it going to be something which ramps up in the way that Karazhan originally did? Is it going to be first few bosses are easy and then, whoa! That ain't no straight line, that's for sure. Is that the way it's going to work? Very interesting to see whether or not that's actually going to happen. Now, we know a few bosses from there because people have, of course, hacked out the information. We also know the ending of the bloody thing. Thanks, hackers, for ruining everything. Nubs. Alright. Now, here's a really interesting thing. Now, I want to read this out. During the public test realm, upon attempting to enter the Black Temple unattuned, the player is informed that he or she must have the Blessed Medallion of Karabor. The Medallion of Karabor is a quest item given by Akama after retrieving the Heart of Fury, a shard of the Atamal Crystal. The Heart of Fury entered into an empty gem slot on the medallion, which is then taken to Adal in Shatrath. It is possible, therefore, that Adal has something to do with the blessing the Medallion of Karabor, that is, attuning the medallion to allow entry into the Black Temple. So there is some basic attunement, but it doesn't sound like it's overly complicated. That's generally a good thing. But it also brings into question the actual difficulty level of the whole thing. As in, why would you on Earth go and smash your head against Serpent Shrine of the Eye when you can go in Black Temple and get better stuff in Tier 6? It's odd. It's very, very odd. It may be that they simply ramp up the difficulty to such a level that people can't even consider going in there and killing more than maybe the first boss or so. Maybe it's like AQ40 was. AQ40, you could run in there and kill Prophet Scarron, but anything beyond that was a huge, massive rooster block for any guild that hadn't, farmed Blackwing Lair. Gear-wise and the way that the actual encounters are designed, the proficiency of your raid and your experience. It'll be interesting to see as to how they actually pull that off, if at all. I would love to know. I really would love to know how they're going to manage it. We'll have to see. So yeah, this week's second win. You can email your answers in before the next show on the 22nd. That is the 22nd. And now you have 3 minutes to give me your shout-outs. Send them to me right now. Email them at gmail.com or PM me on IRC. Do it right now. Do it, do it, do it, do it, and do it. Right, okay, let's check the email box and see what we've got. We have a few shout-outs as requested. Shout-out! I'd like to give a shout-out to my friend who shall remain nameless, who had the funniest idea ever, making a human priest called Good with Kid. Oh, that is sickening. That's from Colin Crisco. Yeah, I hope you get banned in a fire. Inside a fire. Now, here we go. Gareth Natal says a moderate-sized shout-out to Tenzai from Just Add Water, as I know he's listening. Shout-out for Eki. You gonna kill Alalia, the Phoenix God, according to those pesky data miners at least, for Black Temple Attunement. Yeah, that's interesting. And shout out to Nihilum for being the only guild to actually do that. Shout out to a Horde Day's Night. That's pretty good. That is really good. That's one of the best guild names I've ever heard. Shout out to a Horde Day's Night on Misha US. I like that. That's good. For the Horde. That's from Neolithic. A shout out to my guild, the Protectorate on Greymane, who are actually bleeding listening for once. Only took me 6 months of nagging / grumble from the old school man of the station, Roast Biff. Again, I have a shout out to Uncle Shervan, who wants you to idle in Shatrath. And Bladescope on Venture Co. UU. Alliance side. P.S. I still love you. That's from TVC Bladescope. Very, very disturbing indeed. What else have we got? Shout out to me for not listening to the show, okay, 5 minutes ago. JJ fails at everything. A shout out to Equilibrium on Ravenhold EU for doing Growl at the minute, 58% on second attempt. Very good. I would like to give a shout out to Slambone, Shadow Song EU for his first time live show. And I'm going to interject because I'd like to give a shout out. Blue Plz is recruiting. Yes, we are indeed. We are recruiting a few choice people. We would like a priest. We don't care the spec. And we would like you to come and play with us. It would be awesome. That right now is actually the only class that we really need. We need a priest. So, over you come. apply to the Moloch at gmail.com. Send your applications. Previous raid experience is a must. We are a Horde-side PvP guild. And we are currently at the Curator after only 2 weeks of attempts. And there we go. Shout out to Shaidar of the Dark Riders hacked by Chinese. That's from Fexky. A shout out to Carnage because he pwns. A shout out to Love Tank, Ragal, and Baron for owning a 3v3 arena team on Stormmall US server. A shout out to Illuminati Treyan on Maelstrom US. That's from Ender. A shout out to the Trauma Guild on EU Lightbringer for being the best guild on the server. That's from X3 Style. A shout out to my friend who's playing WoW while in a box. What? That's from Tien. A shout out to Palomine, Ajol, Nerub, EU was fun. Running around in Zang. For screenshots today, I miss you. That's from Pooza. A shout out for me for finally getting 69 tonight during the show and should be level 70 by Tuesday as I'm off school. That's from Vortex. A shout out to Mr. Pinchy. Go Pinchy. That's from Fizzban. A shout out to me, Dramathon DB Europe, for getting a new computer today for only €1,400. We got to run Oblivion, Dark Messiah, and WoW all at the same time. Full graphics with no lag. That's a lie. Dark Messiah doesn't run on any computer. It crashes after 5 minutes. No doubt whatsoever. I am done. I am done. This has been Blue Plz here on Wired itself, TotalBiscuit. Check out the other shows. Feel free to donate to our BlizzCon affiliation fund. Donate, WCRadio.com. Check out our other shows and podcasts. Subscribe to our podcast feeds. Check out our news and forums. Subscribe. Donate. Get involved in our community and we will give you back what you give tenfold. I've been Blue Plz. Actually, I haven't. I've been Blue Plz. The show has been named TotalBiscuit. And that is an ice cream van. Good night. You've been listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Plz, one of World of Warcraft's longest-running podcasts and shows. You can check out all the shows at WCRadio.com. Be sure to dig us at dig.com if you like what we're doing, and rate us on iTunes. You can, in fact, download all of our other shows at WCRadio.com. Click the downloads button at the top of the screen, and feel free to get involved in our forum community, also available on our website. Thank you for listening.